Chapter 085. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yiqingyao's worried heart was almost raised to her throat. Those three ruthless people went to assassinate her, but the man in white saved her again and again for some reason. But no one saved the apprentice. Therefore, she was worried about whether someone else came to assassinate the apprentice. Right now, she was standing in front of Su Changge's door, extremely nervous. Her heart was jumping, and she didn't dare to push the door in, for fear that after pushing the door open, she would be greeted by a scene full of blood. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from inside. "Master, I'm here." The sound was not loud, but it was like a reassuring pill, resounding in Yiqingyao's heart. Phew! Yiqingyao breathed a long sigh of relief, and a sense of trance suddenly arose in her heart, and she was extremely happy. Squeak! Su Changge pushed open the door and looked at her with a smile on his face. Yiqingyao was very emotional, rushed up and hugged him deadly. Her white jade hand tightly hugged his waist, and said in a trembling voice, it's okay if it's okay. That at this moment, she suddenly noticed something. The height of the apprentice seems to be taller than before. I vaguely remember that when I hugged him before, I was up to his chin, but why, now only to his chest? Apprentices. Apprentice, you have grown taller. As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly noticed that Su Changge's face was more handsome than before. His face was like a crown jade, his eyes were like a star, and he was as beautiful as a prince of Zhuoshijia, more handsome than before. At this moment, she suddenly felt shocked in her heart and found something even more surprising. The apprentice's white clothes seemed to be very similar to the white-clothed figure just now. Just thinking. Su Changge smiled lightly and spoke, "Master, what's wrong with you? Why are you so excited?" Yiqingyao stood on tiptoe, a pair of white and flawless jade hands held his face, looked carefully, and after a long time, said, "No. It's okay." "That figure in white, is that him?" She couldn't believe it, shook her head violently, and said, "Apprentice, just now there were 3 ruthless people from Tiantai Peak who sneaked into Lihua Peak to kill me, but later, someone saved me. Do you have a killer here? Is there anyone to protect you?" "No one killed me." Su Changge knew this, and slowly shook his head. "It's good if there is no one, it's good if there is no one." Yiqingyao breathed a long sigh of relief, suddenly flashed his spirit, and said, "You don't move here first, I'll come back when I go." Su Changge was puzzled. "Master, where are you going?" "Law Enforcement Hall." Yiqingyao's voice was fiercely cold, and said, "Tiantai Peak sent people over, but unfortunately, they failed. I will go to the Law Enforcement Hall to report them." "Huh?" Su Changge shook his head and said with a smile, "Master, you also went for an empty trip." Yiqingyao's expression froze, puzzled. "Why?" Su Changge secretly provoked. "If they dare to kill, then they must have made preparations in advance. Maybe Du Sihai has already bought the Law Enforcement Hall, and they are now a gang." Yiqingyao suddenly realized, this gang of scraps. "Master, come with me first." Su Changge took her hand, took her to the stone next to her, let her sit on her lap, and then grabbed her waist and said, "Master, I have a little chance here, I sent you, take it." Read more novels for free on our website, tinyurl.com/2aa54z8b. He took out the Qianquan heart armor and placed it on Yiqingyao's jade hand. Yiqingyao's face changed, and she was shocked. This armor seems to be an extremely terrifying treasure. She only glanced at it and immediately concluded that this was a defensive treasure. Su Changge helped her remove her coat and intimately put on her armor. Suddenly, the armor flashed a light and automatically transformed into a thin neon feather coat, as if it was tailored for Yiqingyao. The size was just right, very decent. This level of treasure can automatically adjust the appearance and size of the person wearing it according to the body type and gender of the person wearing it. The neon clothes on the upper body immediately set off her graceful body more beautifully. And the whole person stood tall, like a peerless beauty, beautiful and colorful. "This apprentice, the baby you sent me is getting more and more powerful." Yiqingyao's red lips squirmed, and a warm current suddenly appeared in her heart, and a touch of emotion came to life. feeling that the apprentice was getting better and better for herself. Master, the sheep have the grace of kneeling and milking, and the crows have the righteousness of feeding back. You are very good to the apprentice. Let the apprentice hold your thigh and eat soft rice for 4 years, and now the apprentice has repeatedly gained opportunities, and will definitely repay you. Su Changge touched her pretty face and said with a smile, animals are still like this, let alone people, you say, master. Yi Qingyao's heart was warmed by what he said, and his intention was warm, but the next moment, she suddenly remembered the 3 ruthless people, and suddenly became worried, and said, you sent me such a defensive supreme treasure, so what should you do? Su Changge smiled faintly, me? I'm just fine. Yi Qingyao's cherry mouth suddenly opened wide, and she was shocked. Apprentice is so good to me, but so casual to himself, that she murmured in her heart, feeling that the apprentice's words were like a warm breeze in winter, poured into her heart, moved deeply, and burst into tears. Suddenly, she burst into tears, and the tears of emotion fell down her face, and she hugged Su Changge's neck violently, and said, Wu, apprentice, you are so good to me, Wu. Being that so close, Su Changge could clearly sense that she was exhaling like a lan, and a stream of heat suddenly flowed between her neck, which was Yi Qingyao's deeply touched tears. Okay, master, don't cry. Su Changge patted her back and said softly, master is so beautiful, it's not good to cry. I know, but I can't help it, apprentice, you are so good to me, I am so moved. Yi Qingyao's heart was surging, like a mirror-like lake with layers of meager layers. Her heart was full of grateful joy, unable to help herself, tears involuntarily slipped. Su Changge didn't speak again, just hugged her tightly in his arms. Time and space seemed to freeze at this moment. At this moment, Yi Qingyao felt that her heart was like a broken riverbed, moistened by a trickle of warm currents, and there seemed to be a warm current shuttling through the heart atrium, which was the words of the apprentice, I'll just be fine. What an understatement, but, full of his deep affection for himself, although it is not a Sea Oath Mountain alliance, but it is 1,000 times warmer than the Sea Oath Mountain alliance. This love, I will cherish it well. Yi Qingyao hugged him tightly, and the emotions in her heart surged. Her feelings were continuous, and her emotions were long. It took a long time for her to part. I'll go back first. This is the Mandarin duck talisman, divided into male and female pairs, can be perceived for thousands of miles. If something happens to you, I will immediately sense it, come and save you. Yi Qingyao took out a jade pei and handed it to Su Changge. Su Changge took it in his hand and said, thank you, master. Yi Qingyao hugged him again, this time for a long time. She wiped away her tears and reluctantly left. She just left. Su Changge's mind, the system subsidy arrived on time. Ding. P.S. The Little Author Weekly asks, is this chapter good? Chapter 086. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. You sent a piece of Qianquan heart armor, and the tens of billions of subsidies took effect, triggering an excess critical attack. This excess critical attack multiplier, 419,000 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, Purple Gold Pan Dragon Armor. Purple Gold Pan Dragon Armor. Su Changge's heart moved, and he said to himself, it should be very awesome to listen to the name. He expected that this was Purple Gold and Dragon, and the name was so tall, it would definitely be impossible if it was not awesome. You must know that the treasure sent out just now is Qianquan heart armor, so now such a high multiple critical hit, can the subsidy come back as garbage? Beat to death and don't believe it. Thinking so, he took out the armor. Looking down, I was immediately excited. I saw that this thing was covered in purple and gold, shining with pure dazzling light, and the surface flowed with a rich rime, like a layer of clouds and mist, full of ethereal, and surrounded by armor-like nature. In addition, there are various rules and order avenues blooming billions of rays of divine light on the surface of the armor, and countless rules of rhyme are like chains of avenues lingering around, and the light is endless and colorful. Not only that. On the surface of the armor, there are even layers of various patterns engraved, flowers and trees, birds and animals, mountains and rivers. Almost everything in the world is sparsely engraved on a piece of armor. Look into the eye, it's like looking at a miniature world, how spectacular this is, groove. Su Changge was shocked, treasure. This is definitely a treasure. Almost the whole world is engraved on one piece of armor. Incredible. It's incredible. The next moment. The system sounds, system prompt, purple gold pan dragon armor. The ancient emperor Yellow Emperor sacrificed the heavens with the divine iron in the clan, obtained the grace of the heavenly path, lowered the purple gold meteoric iron. The Yellow Emperor used meteoric iron to cast this thing, the defense surged, the horizontal push was invincible, and the battle of Zhuolu was defeated. The voice fell, Su Changge's excited wrists trembled slightly. No wonder this purple gold dragon armor is so extraordinary, it turned out to be forged by the Yellow Emperor of the Imperial clan. Sent it, this is really sent. He immediately put it on his body. The upper body of the armor suddenly felt a deep and mighty pressure carried down, and the body of the saint was oppressed, and all the tendons and bones in the body were oppressed at this moment, and the sound of thousands of troops galloping. It's really too heavy, this armor. Su Changge roughly estimated that it should weigh hundreds of millions. The terrifying gravity almost overwhelmed him to the ground. But he gritted his teeth and stood up hard. His waist was straight, like a silver gun. He would rather bend than bend. Read more novels for free on our website, tinyurl.com/2aa54z8b. It's heavy, but how can he be afraid? Boom! At this moment, a piercing explosion suddenly sounded in his body, and suddenly he felt indescribably happy, as if a certain shackle in his body was penetrated under the terrifying pressure and shattered by oppression. Boom! A powerful wave of chi exploded from his body and swept out. This is, Su Changge's pupils dilated, I don't know why. Boom! The power is rising. 15 million caddies. 17 million caddies. 19 million caddies. 20 million caddies. 30 million caddies. 50 million caddies. 80 million caddies. The strength skyrocketed to 80 million caddies, and this was able to stop. Su Changge suddenly felt that the pressure on his body suddenly decreased, and he was wondering why, but suddenly understood. His own physical strength has been enhanced. Saint. It turns out that this is the horror of the body of a saint. He suddenly understood the reason. When he was sanctified in the flesh before, he did not inspire the true saint power in his body. And now, under the powerful oppression of the purple gold dragon armor, Yin and Yang accidentally opened up his physical body, successfully activated his saint's body, and fully stimulated the true power of the saint's physical body. That's 80 million pounds of strength. Moreover, it seems that there is still potential that has not been unleashed, and it needs more stimulation. But now this physical strength is terrifying enough. If it is punched out, I am afraid that even the ancient divine mountain will be blasted into slag. Suddenly, on the surface of the purple gold dragon armor, a strange light flashed, and in an instant, the armor was ever-changing, like the vicissitudes of the sea evolving mulberry field. The purple gold dragon armor changed inch by inch, and finally changed into a white clothes that was as light as cicada wings, exactly the same as the original white clothes on his body, as tailor-made. 1 inch more is too much, 1 inch less is too little. Su Changge understood that this was the same as the Qinquan heart armor, which would automatically change to make it convenient for the person wearing it. Otherwise, wearing such a swagger, then he is not like a silly hat. On a hot day, you are wearing a suit of armor, and it's so heavy, tired or not. Bull! What a big profit this time. Su Changge's face was full of red light, and he couldn't help himself with joy. Immediately, he remembered business. I have to hurry up and find something for Xiaoyu to improve his cultivation. Improving cultivation is nothing more than a different thing. First, spirit stones. Second, treasures. He planned to go to Tiantai Peak to see if there was any chance to cut off his beard.